Greetings, happy Sunday. This is your girl, Marilyn Monroe, and welcome to another amazing SwagHer magazine Sisterhood Spotlight. Um, Again, I always start off with I'm excited because I always get excited, right? I
Hmm.
live it like I'm always a ball of excitement. Today I have a entrepreneur, principal, which again I had to look up some of the stuff because I was like, "Ooh, what did she do?" I was like, "Okay, stand-up
Uh,
comedian. She's funny, fearless, and funded." So,
ooh,
you like
I like
that?
that.
You can
I
have it.
like that. I like that. I like what you did there.
Karen Marie, welcome to Sisterhood Spotlight.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm all those
Yes,
things, but this is gonna be
yes.
fun.
I think you are so dope and amazing. I love your posts. Of course, I always just, of course, do the invite. I always try to dig in deep, and I was really like digging and trying to find some of your on stage comedic
Antics,
experience.
probably.
Yes, and but like you are seem so dope and cool, especially now that I know that you are a Leo, big Leo energy.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Big
So
Leo energy.
absolutely. So tell me a bit about who Karen is and
Hmm.
yeah, just a little bit about you. Not a little bit, all about you, as much as we can get.
I'll get as much as I can get out. It's been quite a 40 plus year journey. Lived a lot of lives, you know what I mean? Um, I am, I have a few brands, and so the Karen Marie that you spoke of is like my artist persona. So that's my artist. I have a couple poetry books, and I'm in a couple anthologies. So that's really the pen name. And when I'm on stage, whether it be poetry, background vocals, hand drumming, whatever, at some sound bath, whatever that is, that's Karen Marie. And that's just really my child, inner child, just playing. Like that's just me playing around. I mean, if we got to do it, in the capitalist society, then at least let's have a little fun with it.
Right.
And then I have my super professional arm of entrepreneurship, where I am, an organizational culture and diversity management consultant. And so I work with people with HR, with executive leadership, but I do get to work on them in a very different way than most. I'm working on them in energy patterns. So a lot of times you'll hear a lot of leadership assessments. They're like strengths and weaknesses, but I work with them on what gives you energy and what doesn't give you energy. And so we talk about how to schedule yourself so that you have the most energy to do the work that you're going to do. And then the last arm of it is the culture of you, which is like the production arm and the transformational storytelling platform.
Yes.
Yes, it is a YouTube channel, but it's so much more than that. And so that's live recordings of podcasts, community highlights, just really a lot of kind of journalism in that regard. And the whole thing all falls under the simple of creating heaven on earth. And that is the goal, is that we don't have to
I like
wait until we get to the other side to experience heaven. Like, why can't we experience heaven in our minds and in our collective energy?
I love that. I love that a lot. Like that is so Leo of you.
Yeah, we all
Like
going though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a
yeah,
party. It's not just me.
it's
Like, it's a
always a
party. Like,
party.
come on.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're doing all the things at the party.
Hmm.
So yeah, I love that. So one of my main questions and my first questions is always, what is sisterhood to you? What is the term
Hmm.
sisterhood? What's the feel of sisterhood? And what have you experienced with sisterhood in all the layers of Karen?
Yeah. I think growing up, my first experiences were with my sisters. I'm blessed to have two older sisters. And I also have nieces that are my age. So I got to grow up with them. We call each other sister nieces. And like just last night at my comedy show, my sister from Cincinnati and my niece from Louisville, they came up here, and they surprised me. You know what I mean? And so I think what I was taught growing up, that I didn't realize I was being taught, was that there's enough room for all of us, that we support each
Mhm.
other, we show up for each other, and even when we're arguing or we're upset, like, we don't get to opt out of being sisters. And I think that's an important thing to take into a lot of spaces, because I think you can see some spaces where sisterhood is like it's serious to me. Like it means something, you know what I mean? And it requires something of both of us to be in right relationship with each other. It's take, it's give, it's accountability, right? Like it's saying, hey, like you good? Like it's really checking in and knowing each other enough to know that like something's off, or maybe there's a need. It's enough to know that typically I don't know many groups that aren't.
Yeah.
Everybody got is the strong friend. Like everyone is the strong friend right now. And I think there's multiple layers of like, there's black women, which I'm gonna say is top tier up here. Black women, I have an experience with that. Zora's House is an organization that I'm on the board for, and it is women of color, and it is like an incubator, and we're in Columbus, Ohio. So it's an incubator and workspace, co-working space, and a place where we can really grow professionally and personally and heal and do art and do all of that kind of stuff together in a place that's like safe and centered around us. And I think that there's like the black woman level, which is top tier. I would never, I want to be black woman in every life. And then you have
Right.
the women of color, where there's like, I think community starting to build there. And then I think just overall womenhood, there is a version of sisterhood with all races and ethnicities that I think is understood as long as people are doing their own work. You know what I mean? But all the people like on my team are women, black women artists, like I think what 3/4 of my team is black women artists and creatives. And I think that lineage of understanding, there's so much that doesn't have to be explained, and it's
Yeah.
already exhausting being us. It's
Yeah.
already exhausting proving and defending and advocating for self. And so to be in a room with people that get it, and you don't have to do all of that explaining, and you can just put your shoulders down a little bit, relax your jaw. Like we need more spaces like that every day. Like it's something we should keep returning to.
Yes. I love how you explain everything. Like again, so like just you very like you compartmentalize everything. You break it down, you build it back
Hmm.
up, and you put it back. I love it. Yes.
I mean, I would think the autism, you know what I'm saying? I would think the math major is like
That,
one, two,
that's
three.
fine. Just
Like
a
I'm
little
gonna I'm
step
gonna put
that's
something in
fine.
order.
That's
I'm gonna
fine.
put them in the
That's
order.
that's genius. Wow. So you spoke about, let's talk about the journey. And you
Yeah.
mentioned you having two sisters, and
Hmm.
backstage we discussed one of those sisters and your mom is Libras. So
Yes.
but tell me about the journey of you and how you kind of grew into this.
Hmm.
I would say honestly, you're like slight genius, if not genius. I mean,
I'll take
maybe
it.
I'm
I mean,
wrong,
I
but
haven't been
I would
tested,
say,
but
yeah, right. So,
know.
like, tell us about that journey of growing into who you are today.
I would say I hope it is playful and mad scientist and like trickster energy. Like I hope to always bring that levity to the room. I grew up, and it's funny because my oldest sister from my dad's first marriage,
Mm-hmm.
she is a Pisces and he is a Pisces. He was a Pisces. So it's like March 3rd and March 6th. And then my sister and my mom are like October 3rd and October 14th. And so, you know, I don't think I realized like what, but I was always, my godmother was this brilliant, strong woman, 5'1", you know what I mean? But like powerful. Like I was just raised around very, very powerful, strong, brilliant, beautiful black women. And I think that I thought that that was everybody's experience. You know what I mean? Like I thought that everybody got to have these role models to look into, that had, they were degreed up and they had great jobs and they were taking care of whole households, sometimes on their own and sometimes in relationship. And that was beautiful to see the diversity there. But even just getting into myself, I think when I went to college, I was a college basketball player and college basketball coach. And I was at Kentucky, I was at Ohio University, I was at some really big schools. And I think I was at college at a small school and coaching, and I had to spend a lot of time with myself. I think life gives you all these opportunities to understand yourself more. And I think as
Yeah.
I've gotten older and got out of the people pleasing and got out of the
Yeah.
like asking myself, what do I actually want? Like, am I doing this because I'm supposed to be doing this? Am I doing this because society told me to do this? Am I doing this because religion told me to do this. My mom told me to do this. My dad told me to do this. And then I realized that nonprofit, like, oh, I could do social justice work and HR in the same space. I can do
Yeah.
leadership development stuff in the same space, because I'm a lifelong learner and I just really enjoyed it. So even having that encouragement from my mom and my sister, I think I'm like, I be pushing up against it sometimes, because I used to be like very corporate, like pristine
One
credit,
way.
all of that stuff one way. Like I always had one or two jobs, and I still do. I have a lot of clients, but at the end of the day, there is a leap that you have to take as an entrepreneur that where you can't book stuff at lower costs, because then you're not booking yourself. You got to leave it open for the stuff that you actually want. And so just to have a mother that's always like, I don't know, but I'm gonna trust you because you keep pulling through, and you keep pulling through. And my sister to be like, show up at a comedic event. Like she didn't have to she didn't have to burn the rubber up the highway. You know what I mean? And we all have jobs and long lives, and my niece has a child, he's 4. So like at the end of the day, they didn't have to do all of that. And just over and over again, whether it was in Pennsylvania in the middle of the sticks, whether it was at Ohio University in Athens, whether it was my first coaching gig at Vanderbilt, like they just show up. My grandmother used to come to my basketball games with her cane and like hit on the bleachers.
Wow.
Like they just showed up. And I've never known anything different other than the conditions to be able to be great.
Oh, so you grew up in like the example of family, how it should be. Like you said, you didn't even realize it wasn't that look for everybody. And then it also showed you and developed you to that sisterhood and what you should accept from friends, that expectation. So yeah, I love that. So let's talk the funny.
I mean, okay, let's talk the funny. Let's do that. Okay.
I want to hear all about the funny. The old saying is there's a lot of truth in jokes, right? So a lot of times people bring into their comedy, life situations, whether it's a friend, whether it's a personal, story. So tell me about like you creating the content for your comedic conversations.
I mean, growing up, now looking back, me and my sister, growing up in a neurodivergent household, like I already had a co-writer from day one. She was older than me. So co-writing, whether it be us fighting and like me hitting her with a broom, or, like we had a sliding, my grandmother had a rotating staircase. So we would slide down it, running away from each other and fighting. But just knowing that like even back to being in Louisville with my grandparents, and they'd be like, no more peeps out of you. And then I'm the one that's going to say peep. I'm going to do it. And so just always finding a joke. Things are funny to me. I think that's a coping mechanism for sure. And it's also like, where can I find the silver lining? Where can I find the levity in there? Because my mind's going to go dark. I actually have a lot of morbid humor. Because I've just watched life do its thing and just, wreak havoc everywhere. And so I'm just like, does karma even matter? Whatever, so I just think I look at the world and I'm just like, where is it funny? And where is the irony? And I mean, yes, I'm serious, but in my day job, I'm like doing DEI and stuff. Like I'm literally doing workshops about connecting. I'm holding space for people with big feelings and big trauma that they haven't worked through in their entire professional career. And then they get to me and it's like, oh, this is why I'm always drained. This is why I'm always, and they get answers and they start to explore themselves, which they probably neglected for however long. And so when I come into the comedic space, I'm like, let me talk about this because we're just not okay. Like, let's just talk about it. And so I enjoy it. And my mom really, set me up for success, named Karen. I'm in HR. Like, I don't, the jokes write themselves in some ways. And it's like Karen Marie, like, that's my real name. You know what I'm saying? Christina, Michelle, like, those are our real names. They wanted us to get jobs. I got plenty. So the jokes kind of write themselves, but the stories, even just that middle class experience, which I think a lot of people, there's not really a big middle class now, but just having that middle class Black family experience with, parents that had professional careers and were in a church, and my dad was a minister, but he was also like a diversity management consultant, right? And so like even talking to him and coming out to him, it was just like there was just room, like there was
Yeah.
some understanding. My mom was concerned about my going to heaven or not, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like there's a lot of acceptance
Yes.
over time, and it just, I think the funny is just a survival line. It's always a line I can pull on. We cackled the entire time we had dinner after my show, because we were just talking about being in Louisville, acting like our dog was a horse and we were out in the field on the farm. You know what I mean? Like it was just crazy stuff. Like we're just like, I gotta tell that story. I've been memory
Right.
farming. I didn't realize how much I forgot.
Wow.
Just life and trauma and everything like that. And so to be able to like sit down and memory farm, it's been actually really healing in terms of also pulling those stories and
Yeah.
farming some of those memories that maybe I've forgotten or suppressed.
And that was a follow-up question I had. Like with comedy, as well as they say, truth is in the joke, but it's also
Mhm.
like, it's also in some points some type of healing.
Yes.
But sometimes we don't talk about things if in fact we're still battling with it. We
Yeah.
keep it suppressed, we keep it quiet. But when you're able to like talk about it publicly to strangers on stage, lights, camera, action, and you're able to then laugh about it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like how has that helped you with some
Mm.
of your said traumas and challenges?
Yeah, I think, and I don't know how much, people in my life love it. I know my mom's always like, what are you going to talk about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, you
I
keep
know.
you keep it in the house. There's some things that will not be written until my mother is in another room. But you know what I mean? There's respect. There's respect. But I
Yeah.
think it's been healing for me because I'm able to, like you said, like I always say, I create to heal. I write to heal, which I have to write my jokes too. Like I
Mhm.
write to heal, and then I share to be in community. And so the healing has happened already.
Yes.
Poetry though, you might get a tear out of me depending on what it brings up or what the moment is doing, or
Yeah.
whatever. But in comedy, it's like, man, like you got to be able to laugh at yourself. Like this is too serious for the unserious leadership that we have in this administration. It's we're taking it too serious and stressing ourselves out and having heart attacks at ridiculous rates. That's the number one
Yes.
killer of Black women. Um, Having heart attacks, we're having autoimmune diseases, we're having strokes, like we're having all of
Yeah.
these things, and they're like kicking it. They're
Yeah.
fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nah, like we're gonna laugh. We're gonna laugh at
Yeah.
ourselves because y'all are unserious, and I'm not gonna take you seriously. And then I'm not
Sure.
gonna take this serious. I got one of these. It's all made up. It's all made up. So that's where I have to keep reminding myself when I get too serious, when I get too mathematical and strategic. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is all made up. and
Yes.
and all I can do is control how I make people feel and how I connect with people. And that's what I'm gonna focus on.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. So let's talk about your next projects. Like you had a show last
Ye-
night.
yes.
Um, how was that? And then
Uh-huh.
with that, what is your next project after that? Like, do you develop and grow into something different each on stage
Mhm.
performance, or do you just kind of stick to what's safe?
Oh, no, I don't. I move around, right? So like I saw over time a a demographic, a group of folks that weren't getting burned. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so
Yes.
instead of being loud about it and being like, we should da 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 da, I booked myself. I created a stage, and I've always said, I have a lot of really quirky identities, and really in like unique identities, and for all of that makeup, there's not a ton of folks that are going to have all those identities and resonate with them. But
Yeah.
I can create a space if I wanted belonging, and if I keep going in and seeing the gaps in all of these spaces. Okay, well, I can create it. I used to say I didn't want to be Tyler Perry. I didn't want to produce. I didn't want to do all that. But now
Yes.
I'm like, I'm writing. Now I'm producing. I have a team. My engineers are Black women. My videographers are Black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just that subversive way of just making sure that when you see me, you're gonna see a camp of Black women. You're gonna see
That's right. You'll
quality
see us.
materials.
That's
You're
right.
gonna see us. You're gonna see it. It's gonna be excellent. You're gonna wish you were there. It's gonna be a vibe, and we're gonna create something beautiful. And so every show I do something different, and it just really goes with my creative brain. Like so I have the things I have going right now. Doing the most is a staple show I produce at the Attic in Columbus, Ohio. I do like 3 to 4 a year, one a quarter ish,
Okay.
to move with supply and demand. I also host shows over there for some of the bigger headliners. I've been able to do like Bobcat Goldthwait and Heather Shaw,
Oh
and
wow.
like some of these really really big names, and she's like the lesbian Jim Carrey. So like, I've been able to have some really cool experiences. So I just move around, and it's
Yeah.
like, all right, well, I did a show that was all Black women comedians, and
Okay.
so you're not seeing that in Columbus. I don't know where that's happening, maybe in Atlanta or maybe in Miami or something like that, but I don't know anywhere that has a full roster of all Black women comedians, and
Yeah.
each one of them like nailed it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I give them like 10 minutes. I'm not really big on like the headliner having 30. I will do some shows like that, but I'm like, everybody gets 10 minutes, but then we're going to do some interactive improv. Then we're going to do a sing along with the crowd. Last night, in between each set, we did a debate, and the audience gave us the topic, and then they decided who was for or against. You got a
I love.
minute to go, and then you just did that. Next time, I do want to do some like t-shirts. The budget might increase a little bit, so I want to do like the t-shirts with like wilding out feel, but
Yeah.
but
That's
like
what
less
I've
corny
envisioned.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I want to give it that feel, but I also want to give people a platform, especially newer comedians, to get reps in front of a brick by brick built audience.
Yeah.
And I'm like texting people. I'm making sure all of my people are socially conscious. You know what I mean? And so like, take your risks, do it here, because they're gonna let you know if it's right, on the right track or not.
That's
And
right.
like, it's like a community building activity as opposed to just a comedy show. Like, we're all
Yeah.
engaging with each other. um the queer folks, the Black folks, like everybody's in there.
Right.
It's intergenerational. I think we had 55 was our oldest comedian. She said it on stage, so I could say it. But she was 55, and then I had like, some 29-year-olds that are just
Okay.
starting out. And so, and then I had, a couple guys that I work with on there, but like Black men, of course, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so it's just like, everybody that wants to be here, and I have a poem about it called Dare to Be, but everybody that wants to be here, like, the castle is open, the doors, there's always food, the music is
I love
always
it.
going, and we can rest, and I can come back and know that everybody's taken care of because there's more than enough. And that is just kind of like the way that I operate. And so if you're down with that, it's like, come on, there's more than enough for you. Don't come in here with the scarcity mindset, because there's room for all of us and everybody eats. And that's just how we operate. And I have fantastic experiences. I realized that in 2020, when like COVID started happening, is I was having completely different experiences than everybody else. So that's why I actually started the podcast, was to model that right relationship and that communication and community, and show people that like, you can actually have hard conversations. You can
Yeah.
actually have impactful conversations. You can talk about a disagreement without fracturing and ruining friendships.
Yeah.
And that's what community actually is. I heard a quote. I was doing something with a close comrade, T Brown, and it was like, community is the place where the person you hate is.
Ooh.
Right? So like, community is the place where the person you hate is. And we don't get to choose our family necessarily. We do get to choose. We have chosen family, but like, can you let them live and they
Yes.
let you live, and you
Yes.
all still get what you need from that fountain of community? You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be up under you. I don't even really have to be your friend in community, but I can respect what you do. I can honor you. I can amplify you. I can build you up. I can give you honest feedback in a gentle way, in a grounded way. If you're asking for it, you may not be asking
Yes.
for it. And if you're not asking for it, I'm not giving it to you, because why would I waste my words on somebody that's not
Respectfully.
asking me to do it?
Respectfully. Yeah.
So like, community is just this interesting thing. And I think sisterhood is like the beautiful accents and accentuation of like that community and what community really should be. And matriarchal communities are a thing, and they were definitely a thing in Africa. And so just knowing that that exists, I trust it. Goldman Sachs did womenomics, Black womenomics, where
Mhm.
they found out that Black women, when supported properly, are the best bosses and leaders and
Amen.
entrepreneurs,
Yes.
CEOs, because we're going to give people opportunities. We're going to coach them up. We're going to love on them. We're going to nurture them in a way that only we can. And so, of course, that's going to be, multicultural, multi-generational types of teams. And those have the most success when they work through the disconnects.
So through your great time and experiences of leadership, because you are clearly, I'm sure, a phenomenal leader. Not just like the developer.
I'd have you ask my staff.
Well, I think they'd say the same thing because they're still there.
They still here. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
With your leadership, like, have you ever gotten to a point where, whether it's doing your 9 to 5 or your day time and then hitting the stage and creating your content and everything, have you ever had the moment or the thought of self-doubt?
Yeah. Like every day. Like I have a sitting practice. I'm a somatic practitioner. And I learned to be a somatic practitioner that's, working on the body, Reiki certified, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Because I got into it. I had this year of death, and it was like 18 people. I stopped counting at 20 in August. 1 degree of separation from me had passed away. Right. And so I started doing the healing modalities and becoming a practitioner.
Yeah.
And as I was doing leadership stuff, I think the thing to know about it is that we have nervous systems individually, but anytime you're with other people, you all are creating a nervous system. And it is important to tend to that nervous system, because if you think about it, when you go in, like, the culture of the place, wherever you go, and I do a lot of work in culture, the culture of the place is what everybody brings to the space. And if everybody's bringing frenetic energy to the space and that urgency and that all of that, then it's not going to be a good environment. Like, I don't think I'm that radical, but what I find is that people think I'm radical because if my employee is messaging me, I call them team members, but if my teammate is messaging me and talking about their mental health, I am not going to message them back and be like, okay, but did you finish that newsletter? But did you, like, nobody knows the schedule that we have. Nobody knows the deadlines that we have. I feel like everything can be pushed back a day. Yes. I feel like we're humans first. And I think nobody's going to care about the date that I released that newsletter in 5 years, but my employee, my teammate, is going to care about how I treated her.
Yep.
You know what I mean? How I treated her. And I just think that in leadership, we're so disconnected from self. So how can I know that I'm not my favorite self right now if I'm disconnected completely from myself? And so a lot of the work that I do in polarity therapy is reconnecting with self, so that I can then reconnect and engage as a leader from a grounded place, from a place that is confident. And so the doubt has always been there. The doubt has been, I have to prove myself. The doubt has been, this has never been done before. I'm a life path 1. It's like, it's never been done before.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to find out how I can get the resources to do it. And I'm scrappy. I got a lot of grit, and I'm subversive, and I'm creative. And I never had to change my language when all the DEI stuff happened. And I was like, I didn't realize what I was doing in the front end, because in the back end, I don't have to do a lot of language changing. The doubt has refined me, I think, in some ways, because and that comes from, like, straight up college basketball. Never give somebody a reason to take you out. Like, never give somebody a reason. Like, you're going to go watch film. When you're watching film, cover your ground, take care of it, take care of your side of the street. And I think that's a philosophy we can use at all times. So it does sharpen me. It has the iron sharpening iron element. But then when I remind myself that, like, I am stardust, you know what I'm saying? That my soul just longs to return home, and that this is a human experience, and, like, just, it's all made up. And I can start to, walk it back and be like, okay, well, what kind of experience do I want to have? And that's a question that I ask myself all the time. What kind of experience do I want to have? And that takes away the I don't know, that doubt that we feel when we freeze. We're like, I don't know if I really want to do this. And now I'm like, okay, well, what experience do I want to have? All right, I want to take a risk, and I'm here for the plot. I've done that a lot more lately because you see what's happening around us. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
here for the plot. Like, let's see, shake it up the dice, see what's going to happen. Because I'm coming in with good intentions. I'm coming in with a heart that wants to nurture. I'm coming in with a altruistic, like community centered, everybody can win type of mentality. So my side of the street is clean. So when I'm walking into anything, I'm like, all right, let's see what kind of experience I want to have. And if I don't like it, I can leave. Like
That's right.
I can
Right.
do
You can
whatever I
change.
need to do.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, what? Meg the Stallion walked off in the middle of this in the play because she wasn't feeling too good. She had to go to the hospital. Yeah, like
That's
that.
right.
Maybe you should have gone earlier, but like that, like
That's
that.
right. So, what are the words, or what would you say to the younger Karen? If you could,
Mm,
if all the things you know now,
hmm
what could, what age and what words would you say to the younger Karen?
I think the age is 7 or 8, and I know that. I know that was a pivotal time, in my life. My parents got separated, and
Mm,
um, I was in elementary, in a Montessori school.
okay.
And I think that a while ago, like when I was in college coaching basketball and doing all of that, like corporate type of thing, I've worked in corporate DEI for, you know, Hard Rock. Like I've done the thing. When I was in that space, I think the I would have been more disciplined and a lot harder. I'm really hard on myself. I think
Mm,
now I would just have so much grace, because every time I'm coaching someone or doing grounding and capacity coaching work, I'm thinking about how I want it to be dealt with.
yeah.
What would have helped me? What would have made me feel held? What would have
Yeah.
made me feel cared for? What would have made me feel loved and encouraged? And then I'm doing that. And
Yeah.
so that's really where what I would say is that you get it, I would tell myself I know. You know, and don't question your knowing.
Mm.
That's what I would say.
So I had this conversation actually last night, and it was a conversation of what you just mentioned, like being
Hmm.
hard on yourself. And my response to this person was, it's best to just be consistent with yourself,
That's
you know,
fair. Yeah.
because if you are consistently with an expectation and or goals of yourself, and you're consistent, it
Hmm.
doesn't seem so hard.
Yeah.
You know how like you have a workload, right? And
Hmm.
some people just skate through the week just doing nothing, taking extra lunch breaks,
Hmm.
and then Friday, I'll do it all Friday, right? I'll just
Hmm.
go to
Hmm.
Friday and do it all then. And then Friday is just a hard day
Hmm.
because you let it pile up. You weren't
Hmm.
consistently working and taking care of those things you need to take care of.
Hmm.
And so often we are hard on ourselves because we're not as consistent with
Hmm.
ourselves and the things
Hmm.
we need and require, the patience,
Yes.
the kindness to ourselves.
Yes.
And it comes at the end of all of that, it rolls into a ball and it's very
Hmm.
much hard. We're then
Hmm.
hard on ourselves because it's like chop chop. You then become too critical of ourselves. And it's really tough because we do that to ourselves often.
Hmm.
And so, in addition to my words to this person, this is something that I too will practice with being consistent, more consistent with myself, patient with myself,
Yeah.
kind with myself,
Hmm.
realistic. Because, we want to do
Realistic.
everything in
That's the
one day.
one.
Yes, realistic.
Ambitious.
Yes,
Ambitious.
yes. So it's that is so important. Um, and lastly, I would love for you to let the good people of SwagHer magazine,
Hmm.
Sisterhood Spotlight know where could we locate Karen.
Nice. All right. So I have a link tree that is Culture of You. If you put Culture of You, if you go to Linktree and put Culture of You, it'll pull that up. Um, but you can go to cultureofyou.com. I want you to go to cultureofyou.com and I want you to sign up for the newsletter. I give a monthly newsletter. I could be anywhere. I say, get in where you fit in. I will
That's right.
be doing TEDx this year in Columbus, Ohio. I'll be producing it with my team and the Culture of You team. We are doing it in October for King Lincoln Bronzeville, which is a historic neighborhood here in Columbus. And then we're going back to live recordings of our podcast at Zora's house on Thursday nights. We moved it to the nights now. We're bringing wine. And so we're doing that starting in June. And so I'm not sure exactly. I have a TV pilot that I'm moving around a little bit that is called Black Karen. So that's like that's the wild card.
I love it.
I felt like no matter what side of the aisle you were on, you'd be like, what's this about? So it's called Black Karen. It's a dramedy. I'm a life coach in it and a comedian, and I talk to my cat at the end of every episode. So that's the wild card. Like if that takes off, I'm like, please put me in the writer's room. So you can expect to see a lot more of me. I wanted to do more voice acting and narration. So I'm in something on the 11th of April at the Lincoln Theater. I'm on dance. I'm doing the voice of God on something here recently. I'm on a panel here at this film conference next weekend. So I'm just out here trying to have the conversations like today that I was able to have with you, where we're just visioning and like it kind of is a little Afrofuturism, but we're thinking about what's possible outside of what we've been told is possible. And that's, if I could do that all day, I'd be happy to do it.
Amen. I love it. You are a genius, period.
Thank you.
You are a genius.
Thank you.
National Poetry Month, everyone. Of course, that's in April this month. Enjoy, write some good poetry, make it count. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today on SwagHer Sistahood Spotlight.
Thank you. You matched me right there.
Yes, I love it. Make sure that you all know that I love you and God does too. You enjoy your Saturday. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah. That was so